Hi everyone, this is Perfume Coast, so welcome to my channel. As I continue talking about citrus profile in the perfumery, today it's all about lime fruit. And without further ado, let's jump into the ocean of perfumes. And the first perfume I'd like to talk today is called Limes by British brand Floris. And let me tell you straight away that this one of all mentioned today is probably the most straightforward and simplistic. However, equally, it's sophisticated and classy. But first thing first, let's take a look at what Fragrantica is listing in terms of the notes. So on the top there's Amalfi Lemon and Petitgrain, in the middle there's Linden Blossom, Neroli and Lily of the Valley, and finally in the base there's Musk. So the opening here is sparkly, clean and non-sweet, well, just a touch perhaps. So it's your pure tart lime that's being freshly squeezed to your cocktail glass. And as the scent progresses, it feels like some sparkly water has been added to this freshly squeezed unsweetened juice. There's also this slight of zesty lime on your glass of this freshly squeezed lime juice mixed in with sparkly water. So there we have it, our virgin mojito, zero alcohol, but with no mint added to it. The lime is so realistic in here that I literally couldn't tell this perfume from the real fruit with my eyes closed. So it's limey, zesty, fresh, sparkly and non-sweet scent with some white clean faucets to it. This scent is great for breaking the heat and humidity of a hot summer day, so it's perfect for being worn during such hot summer day, be it office, meal or beach occasion. Obviously very unisex, and the only thing is that on my skin it's not really long lasting, just about 3 hours. Next up is yet another brilliant lime forward release, very popular in the fragrance community, and it's by Italian brand Simone and Andreoli, and the perfume is called Malibu Party in the Bay. And as always, let's take a look at the notes that Fragrantica is listing here. So on the top we've got lime and green accord. In the middle there's coconut, nectar and sugar, and finally in the base there's rum and sandalwood. Now this one is another mojito-like fragrance, starting off with bright and juicy accord. But the opening here is straight away creamier with a good dose of bounty-like coconut shavings effect. It's very similar to the limes by Floris, but a lot thicker option because of all the creaminess landed by coconut. I guess it's creaminess that makes this fragrance also a touch sweeter, but mind you, this sweetness is always on the background. So this scent has this boozy effect to it as well. Therefore, this mojito is more of a classical drink here with abundance of lime, mint. Mint is here, by the way, is achieved through the presence of green notes apparently. And this mint is mixed up with rum accord, which altogether I added in here. So this mojito, as mentioned before, is also complemented by slightly sweetened coconut milk and perhaps garnished with coconut shavings, all in a big glass with sugared edges. This perfume is undoubtedly a brain reference to good summer party vibes, where the cocktail described earlier is a key drink served on a yacht or on a dock of a bay. So the name is very consistent with what this perfume is giving off, and as the scent dries down, coconut creaminess moves forward and somehow lime slightly gets toned down. So sandalwood in the base only contributes to this effect as the scent goes, and in the deep dry down we get this slightly sweet and creamy lime with a touch of coconut and green accords. Again, excellent summer option for all day wear, but this time also including dinner occasion, as it's more complex as compared to the first perfume reviewed earlier. Next up is Monaco release by the brand Perris Monte Carlo, which is called Cedro Diamante. And as always, let's take a look at the notes that Fragrantica is listing. So on the top we've got citron, lemon, lime and lemon verbena. In the middle there's ginger, cardamom, Sichuan pepper and pink pepper. And finally, in the base says oak moss, musk and iris. Now this perfume is probably the most spicy of all reviewed so far. And to my nose, it's yet again your bright sparkly lime, and this sparkliness and spiciness are achieved here by the notes of cardamom, ginger and variety of peppery accords. So this combo of moss and verbena, in my view, makes this perfume give off a touch of classy vintagey accord, perhaps the likes of a zest that's slightly marinated and sort of on the verge of turning. But no worries, the perfume never crosses that sensitive line, and it remains truly citrusy and invigorating without going rancid. But what this mossy sensation does do, however, is getting the scent classier, sweeter and even more realistically smelling lime fruit. This one I would happily compare with the sparkly drink that contains abundance of lime juice, freshly squeezed, and the fruit itself together with its peel is also left in the glass. And also a good dose of sugar and alcohol have been added and mixed in with the fruit and its juice. So this perfume is extremely invigorating and uplifting, working nicely as a pick-me-up option or as an all-day wear for the summer season. It's pretty long-lasting and unisex. The longevity is about 4 hours. So this one, in the end, is your more complex and slightly more challenging fragrance that definitely delivers all the usual lime-forward features. However, it also gives something extra. And this extra, as mentioned before, is this ever so slightly marinated impression, which, however, is beautifully setting this fragrance apart. But again, this challenge is not off-putting at all, but rather something that makes this fragrance more interesting and different. So next up is yet another Italian release, which is called Bergamundi, apparently having to do with the fruit of bergamot, and it's by Italian brand Farmacia Annunziata. And as always, let's take a quick look at the notes. So according to Fragrantica, on the top we've got bergamot, lime and mandarin orange. In the middle there's orange blossom and magnolia. And finally in the base there's white musk and cedar. Now this fragrance is the sweetest of all the limes mentioned so far. So from the very first spritz it gives me this extremely sweet lime-forward soft drink where sugariness overpowers the citrusness of a lime fruit. I can also assume that this drink has a bit of alcoholic touch to it, the likes of gin perhaps, as there's this touch of bitterness in here too. But I'm also curious what it is that delivers this utter sweetness. Based on the notes, there is no sugar whatsoever, nothing sugary-like even. And I'm thinking perhaps it's magnolia that serves this sweet vibe. This perfume is pretty linear, except for all the features listed above get amplified in time. Because of this gin-like bitterish direction, this scent, despite sweetness, is very unisex to my nose. The fragrance is very long-lasting, about 6 hours, which is a good deal for a summer freshie. The scent is very unique and smells like nothing else on the market, and all because of this strong association with sweet sugary tonic or soft drink, as it were, with a good deal of gin-like accord. And finally, to wrap this video up, we've got Australian release by the brand Goldfield and Banks, which used to be quite popular last year and the year before. So the perfume is called Bohemian Lime. And as always, let's take a quick look at the notes that Fragrantica is giving. So here what we're dealing with is a cluster of notes, and what they are is finger lime, Haitian vetiver, bergamot, Moroccan cedar, Australian sandalwood, and coriander. Now, this perfume, compared to previously listed, to my nose is quite masculine leaning, despite the fact that it's marketed as unisex. And of course, the way we perceive scents can be quite subjective, so it's up to a personal taste really. But anyway, to me it's quite masculine. And the reason for this is very odd too. So to me this masculine direction is explained by this quite a strong powdery accord, which normally is quite the opposite, because powdery note is, as a rule, responsible for cosmetic feminine aura, While here, this powdery concoction gives off the masculine territory, which probably is explained by the presence of vetiver on the top. And vetiver, of course, very often is a masculine signature bed, and that's why. So in the opening again, along with this vetiver powdery accord, I can clearly detect tones of bergamot and lime that together with woodiness end up in a bit camphorous direction. By the way, lime here is introduced by a finger lime, looking quite different and, judging by the scent of this perfume, smelling quite different as well. And finger lime, of course, is indigenous to Australia, where Goldfield and Banks brand is from. On the picture, it really looks like this small green bag full of greenish caviar instead of the usual pulp more familiar to us Europeans, for example. So in the end, this invigorating lime is powdery, different, tart, and also slightly camphoric. In fact, I enjoy smelling this scent, and despite its masculine aura, I sometimes enjoy wearing it, borrowing it from my husband's collection every now and then. Because who said women cannot wear masculine fragrances? In fact, I do believe very often masculine leaning scents wear beautifully on women's skin, providing this extra je ne sais quoi vibe. But as said before, guys, that's it for today. If you like this video, please give it a like. Please consider subscribing. I will be very much pleased to see your comments, if any. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.